Welcome to Big Daddy Storytime. We're reading Thomas and Friends, Thomas and the Breakdown Train. Hey, can you see Thomas there? You can see him smiling. Great job. Would you like to read a story about Thomas and the Breakdown Train? You would? Okay, let's get started. Every day, Sir Topham Hatt came to the station to catch his train, and he always said, "Hello" to Thomas. There were lots of freight cars in the yard. Different ones came in every day, and Thomas had to push and pull them into their right places. He worked very hard. He knew now that he wasn't as clever as he had thought. Besides, Sir Topham Hatt had been kind to him, and he wanted to learn all about freight cars, so he would be a really useful engine. Can you see Sir Topham Hatt there? He's teaching Thomas everything there is to know about being a really useful engine. Great job for spotting that, my friends. But on a siding by themselves were freight cars that Thomas was told he mustn't touch. There was a small coach, some flat freight cars, and two strange things his driver called cranes. "That's the breakdown train," his driver said. "When there's an accident, the workmen get into the coach, and the engine quickly takes them to help the hurt people and clear and mend the line. The cranes are for lifting heavy things like engines, coaches, and freight cars." Wow, can you see Thomas there? His driver is telling him about all the things on the siding. That is so neat. One day Thomas was in the yard when he heard an engine whistling. "Help! Help!" A good train came rushing through much too fast. The engine, a new one named James, was frightened. "Oh, James, don't worry. Be happy." His brake blocks were on fire, and smoke and sparks streamed out of each side. "They're pushing me! They're pushing me!" he panted. On, laughed the freight cars, still whistling. "Help! Help! Poor James disappeared under a bridge." "I'd like to teach those freight cars a lesson," said Thomas, the tank engine. "Can you see James there? Those freight cars are pushing him way too fast." "Don't worry, my friends. There's always going to be a happy ending with Thomas and Friends." Then a bell rang in the small box, and a man came running. "James is off the line! The breakdown train! Quickly, quickly!" he shouted. So Thomas was coupled on. The workmen jumped into their coach, and off they went. Thomas worked his hardest. "Hurry, hurry, hurry!" he puffed. This time he wasn't pretending to be like Gordon. He really meant it. "Bother those freight cars and their tricks," he thought. "I hope poor James isn't hurt." They found James and the freight cars at a bend in the line. The brake van and the last few freight cars were on the rails, but the front ones were piled in a heap. Oh no! James was in a field with a cow looking at him. Moo! And his driver and firemen were feeling him all over to see if he was hurt. "Oh, James, be okay." "Never mind, James," they said. "It wasn't your fault. It was those wooden brakes they gave you. We always said they were no good." Can you see James there? Oh, poor James. We need to sing James a Be Happy song. "Oh, James, be happy. Oh, James, be happy. We are your friends, so James, be happy." Great job for singing that, my friends. Thomas pushed the brake train down alongside the wreck. Then he pulled the unhurt freight cars out of the way. "Oh dear! Oh dear!" they groaned. "Serves you right! Serves you right!" puffed Thomas crossly. Then the men put the other freight cars on the line. He pulled them away too. He was hard at work puffing back and forward all afternoon. Puff, 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 puff. This'll teach you a lesson. This'll teach you a lesson, he told the freight cars, and they answered, yes, it will. Yes, it will, in a sad, groany, cheeky sort of voice. They left the broken freight cars and mended the line. Then, with two cranes, they put James back on the rails. He tried to move, but he couldn't, so Thomas helped him back to the shed. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting anxiously for them. Well, Thomas, he said kindly, I've heard all about it, and I'm very pleased with you. You are a really useful engine. James still has some proper brakes and a new coat of paint, and you shall have a branch line all to yourself. Oh, sir, said Thomas happily. Now Thomas is as happy as can be. He is so happy. Can you see Thomas there? He's smiling. He can't believe it. Of a line all to himself because he is a really useful engine. He has a branch line all to himself and puffs proudly back and forth with two coaches all day. Puff, 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 puff. He is never lonely because there is always an engine to talk to at the junction. Edward and Henry stop by quite often and tell him the news. Gordon is always in a hurry and does not stop, but he never forgets to say "bup bup 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 bup" to little Thomas, and Thomas always whistles "beep beep beep beep" in return. What have we learned today, my friends? We have learned from Thomas that helping a friend in trouble is serious business. Thomas helped his friend James when James was in trouble. Friends help friends even when they are in trouble. Be happy, my friends. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Big Daddy Story Time. God bless.